Before we get started, we do have a couple of points of personal privilege. Let me start by recognizing Black History Month today in San Antonio, and we're pleased to recognize this important invitation to celebrate the contributions of our Black community. We're lucky to have an institution in our city whose mission is to track and record our region's Black history, getting us closer to account for our complete history and to create opportunities for us to learn and grow from that history. So in honor of that, in Black History Month, I'd like to welcome Deborah Jarman Omawale, the Executive Director of the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum, to address us today. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor and Councilman Jalen, and also our other esteemed council members of San Antonio. Black history is American history. San Antonio's Black history is San Antonio's history. It is a story of Estevanico. He was brought here as an enslaved person with the Spaniards, and he navigated, he interpreted for the Spaniards with the natives that lived here. It's the story of Joe, who was enslaved by Travis and leaves one of the only living eyewitness accounts of the Battle of the Alamo. It's the story of Emily West, yes, the Yellow Rose of Texas, who looked a lot like me. The story of Captain Smith, who said in 1917 in the San Antonio Express News that, yes, indeed, the Alamo was a slave market. It's also a triumphant story. It's the story of the Wilcox Ranch that has been in their family for 150 years, not more than 40 miles from where we live, in a freedmen's colony outside of Seguin. It's the story of Ellis Griffin, who had over 100 acres off of Wetmore Road, which is how SAAACAM came to have our annual blues festival, which you all have the Fiesta Medal that was on your chair of our blues festival. It's the story of heroes, Myra Davis Hemmings, who was one of the founders of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, who has done so much, not just in San Antonio, but across the nation, including being one of the spearheads of our National Head Start program. The story of Hattie Briscoe, who as a cosmetology teacher at Phyllis Wheatley High School, lost her job and decided, you know what, I'm going to fight for my job. And in doing that, she got a new career as a lawyer and the first African-American female attorney in Bexar County. It's the story of San Antonio government, Reverend S.A. James, who in 1965 was the first African-American city council person here in San Antonio, or Ivy Taylor, the first Black female mayor of a city that had over 1 million residents, and our own Councilman Jalen McKee Rodriguez, the first Black openly gay council person in San Antonio. It's the story of Fiesta. It's the story of the Republic of Texas, that even though we celebrated, if you read the Texas Constitution, people of African descent weren't even considered citizens. It's the story of Ellis Griffin, as I talked about, who played the fiddle for his neighbors out on Wetmore Road every night, and everyone came to party. We are celebrating health and wellness as the National Black History theme. So it's the story of our local heroes, like Dr. Diana Burns Banks, local living heroes, or Tiffany Jones Smith, the CEO of the Texas Kidney Foundation, our own Claude Jacobs, the new director of Metro Health. It's also the historic stories of the first Black surgeon, Dr. Green Starnes, Dr. Ruth Bellinger, Dr. Charles Andrews Sr., Dr. Robert L.M. Hilliard, Ruth Dedrick Edwards, a biochemist, Calvin Kennedy Sr., a biochemist. So I want to say congratulations to the council, congratulations to the city for the work that you're doing, looking at our policies through an equitable lens, celebrating San Antonio cultures, Of course, supporting SAAACAM and its programming, including our archive growth at the Texas A&M San Antonio, our exhibit space, and hopefully our expansion, Mayor and City Manager Walsh, our riverboat tours, our film series, preserving local African American cemeteries, and including Saturday's event at the Ella Austin Community Center, where we are celebrating Black cowboys. And just so you know, Anglo cow workers were called cow hands. So the term cowboys was used for Black and Native cow hands, just so you know that. But see, you wouldn't know that if you didn't read history. So I want to encourage you, until every child in San Antonio can see themselves represented in San Antonio history, until every child in San Antonio can understand that they are history makers, we still have work to do. So let me leave you with one of my favorite songs. It's a prayer, the third stanza of Lift Every Voice and Sing, that was written by James Weldon Johnson, that in my community is the Negro National Anthem. But I want you to close your eyes and pray this with me. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by your might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met you, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forgot you. Shadowed beneath your hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. And thank you to the entire team at SAAACAM. Deborah, I think I'm a believer in that moments make people, but in this case, I think people were made from moments, and I think you were the absolute right person to be in our community at this time to make sure that SAAACAM was established. So congratulations to you. And to continue and give focus and invite our community to our Black History celebration and recognitions, let me turn it over to Councilmember McKee Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Deborah, and all who are with you. So SAAACAM, San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum, is so critical and important in preserving the history, the Black history of San Antonio, and I'm proud to support them. And I want to say thank you for calling us into the moment historically and with a vision for what we can become. My office is proud to partner with SAAACAM to kick off Black History Month with an event taking place this Saturday, February 5th at 1 p.m. at the historic Ella Austin Community Center. February 5th, this Saturday at 1 p.m. Please come out. Join us for a free matinee movie commemorating the Black Cowboy. We will have a pop-up exhibit as well as demonstrations by the Buffalo Soldiers on roping, cowboy cooking, and horseback riding. We invite our entire San Antonio community to join us. Black History Month is a time when we ground ourselves in the stories of our Black community, but also a time to reflect on our actions and how we are honoring the struggle and even the very existence of Black lives. I'm reminded of a quote by a transformative author and philosopher, James Baldwin. He said, "I began to be bugged by the teaching of American history because it seemed that history had been taught without the cognizance of my presence. And may all our actions as a council demonstrate the Black Lives Matter and also celebrate Black joy and honor the very existence of Black lives." Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McKee